Blood Thrall. So opposing champion, turn that champion into... When a troop you control deals damage to an opposing champion this turn, discards a card. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's like for one turn they can do it. It's just not really happening for me. Alright. Alright, so I think we've got the makings of something that's going to be decent here. I think I can reduce the... and not have everything so huge now. So what have we got here? We've got 69 cards, so we need to come down actually like 9 cards, but again, we're going to be moving cards up and down, and we'll worry about that later. So I really think this Rotcaster's not going to do a lot for us compared to some of the other removal we have. It's a 3/2 body, but if we sacrifice it, it's not coming back. It's not doing a lot for us. I think most of the bodies in the deck we want to either gain its life or be quality bodies that we can sacrifice well. Call of Grave, good to combat things like Persecute or Vamp King or whatnot if it becomes big in the meta. So here's my problem with Call of the Grave. If you cast Call of the Grave could have been another card in your deck. So a lot of times you could have drawn a better quality card instead of using Call of the Grave to pull something back from your graveyard. Now, the reason why other cards might be good is if it was like something like it pulled 2 creatures back. Now that's card advantage, because now I'm removing a card from my hand and pulling 2 back from the graveyard. That's good card advantage. But when it's 1 for 1, like let's say I have a vampire, let's say I made the decision to play Call of the Grave and I played 2 Vampire Kings in my deck, and I have the resources to play Vampire King. I only have that much. I've already got I've got my 2 Vampire Kings are already in my graveyard. I pull Call of the Grave, I rip that off the top. I can now play Call of the Grave and pull a Vampire King in my hand, but I can't play it because I don't have enough resources, because I only had enough to play Vampire King to begin with. So instead of it being Call of the Grave, it could have easily been Vampire King, and I could have just simply cast Vampire King. So again, Call of the Grave is just not that great. Effects like that, where it's just a single pull thing back to my hand, it's not that great. What makes recursion good is putting things back into play directly, not back to your hand. If it pulls it back to my hand, it's a problem. Yeah, I mean, it's just Persecute on Vampire King. I don't know. I don't really see it. Okay, so this Rotcaster, I think we're going to pull him. Well, yeah, okay, well that would have been your decision to make, is to decide, okay, first of all, it's a best of 3, so you would, apparently, hopefully you would see Persecute on game 1. And the thing is, Persecute is bad to begin with, because when something gets persecuted, it still needs to get killed. Persecute doesn't kill things. Persecute kills more things. So it's a debuff for your opponent. So they're already giving up a card. So if you only had 2 Vampire Kings in play, they persecute one, and then the other one dies because they kill it with murder, they're still going 2 for 2, and the card advantage is 0. So it's really not card advantage at that point. It really needs to go into like you need to have 3 of the same thing in play to make Persecute give you positive card advantage, and that's a bad place to be. So Persecute in and of itself is not good, and if someone decides to play it, I'll let them play it all day. That's fine. You can play it all day on me. Kills it from the deck too. Okay, that's fine. That just simply. Okay, well that's okay, but still, again, you still need to cast it. It needs to happen. It needs to basically. It's fine. I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's just again, it's a slow effect, and it's not gonna do a lot for people. This Plague, however, could get out of hand very, very, very easily in this deck, because you're basically going to have an open board state. The debate is basically how much of an effect we think it'll have on our game. Do we already have it on the sideboard? I think, yeah, we already have 2 on the sideboard, so we could go up to 3 in the main board depending on how we feel like the meta is. If we feel like the meta has a lot of people that are playing creature decks, especially creature decks that are aggro, where they're going to have low 1/1s, 2/2s, you know, 2/3s and things like that, this is going to be an amazing card. So we'll definitely go up to 3, possibly 4 in the main deck. But if the meta is split between like control and aggro, then it's not as advantageous because it does nothing, not a lot versus control decks. Especially control decks eventually that will run no creatures once people figure out how to do that. Or minimal creatures where it's like 1 bomb creature at the very end of the game. So Vampire King is going to give us, when we kill things, is going to give us more vampires to sack the things. So he's amazing for this deck. So he's an easy 4 of in this type of a deck. I mean, we might have to reduce him because we're looking at curve and other things, but right now we're going to keep him at 4. Pact of Pain to draw cards. It's okay, but we're not really gaining a lot of life. So I'm going to pull it for now. I don't think I'm going to have to think too much about it because we've got Zombie Plague instead. That's our buff. That's the buff card we're looking at. Like Ivory Pawn, like I guess you could play that with Pact of Pain and other stuff, but I think I'm going to go ahead and pull that one right now too. Hex Engine is some, I mean, acceleration, but it's really kind of slow. I don't think I want to play that either because by the time I cast it, I mean, it'll help me get to that 6 drop, but do I have a 6 drop? Not really. I have a 5 drop. So instead of playing Hex Engine, I much prefer to play Atrophy even. I'd much prefer to play Atrophy in this deck, or wherever it is. Extinction. So there's really not a lot past the 4 drop, so I don't feel like that really makes the deck. Like this Hideous Conversion is probably even better than that. It's more efficient for us, I think. It's debatable, really. Yeah, we only get 1 for sacrificing 1. I mean, the problem is we're sacking, we're not. Do we really need a ramp that much? I don't know. I don't really feel like we do. I'd much rather be playing... I think I'd much rather be playing more Zombie Plague than that card. Highborn is, we're going to play this guy because he's more bodies for us to sack out. Well, that's good. I'm glad that I'm able to put something together that you're going to like to play, hopefully. This one is debatable. I mean, it's going to help us move forward and draw cards that can trip us, but it's probably not really that great for us, so we're going to pull that one. Doesn't really get us very much of anywhere. Life Drain guy's decent. Atrophy is okay. We've got 26 land. We'll see where we're sitting here. We're sitting at 61 cards, so we're actually in a really good spot. We only need to cut 1 card, and we're at 60 cards, and we still have the 26 resources. I really feel like we want to stay there. Let's look at our curve. We have no 1-drops, so we really need to make sure that we're drawing stuff. I mean, we might actually throw a 1-drop in here just so we have a turn 1 once in a while. I would have to find something that fits the control makeup to put in there, but for the most part, nothing's going to happen. Nothing much is going to happen with us for the first couple turns. We're going to be drawing lots of cards and playing resources and passing. Our 2-point range, though, is pretty good. We've got 11 cards. 11 cards in this 2-point range. Of course, the Chaos Key is not going to do anything until we have 5 resources, but everything else, a lot of our 2-point cards are going to block things, early stuff. We've got this Highborn, which can block off, chump block things for a little while if we need to. So we'll probably pull Terrible Transfer. That'll probably be the card we'll pull here. I mean, it is removal, which is nice, but I think we like to have more bodies. We could also pull Corrupt Harvester, actually. I mean, the life drain is nice, but we aren't really losing a lot of life other than what it is that our opponent is doing to us, damage-wise. And once we stabilize the board state and have more stuff than our opponent, we should be fine. Another thing we could get rid of is Atrophy. Actually, you know, that's probably the card I would pull. Yeah, I think I'll pull Atrophy. Alright, let's go to our sideboard real quick. So we definitely don't need these Blood Auras. The Bolt Paw Wizard is kind of whatever, it might do something for us. This guy, the Throat Cutter, is not really going to do anything for us, obviously. Again, this guy, I mean, the biggest problem I have is that he doesn't sack well like the other things, or he doesn't create more bodies for us. More Necessary Sacrifice is okay, more Zombie Plague is obvious. That's an obviously good choice, especially when we might be playing against a lot of things. Yeah, see, you really need a focus, and I think that's a lot of, like, people that start understanding some of the early concepts of deck building. Like, they might get, like, this, the curve, but they don't get, like, focus, where it is that they have too many ideas. As a Johnny player, or, you know, Johnnies are typically, a lot of your deck builders are Johnnies, where they're looking for the different combos and different things that are out there. You can't sit in my lap right now, because I got the baby in my lap, okay? Okay? You want me to read you a story? Are you sure? You want to go potty before you go to bed? I can come read you a story. It's bedtime, Elliot. It's time to go night-nights. Who's that? Card's bad guy. No, that's not Card's bad guy. Who's that? Who's that right there? No, that's Elliot. See that? It's Elliot. My son likes to tag his name on the things, too. Reading the story of Xenos Chosen. So we're at 46.9%. We're almost 50%. We need some more cards on the sideboard. Apparently when I say that, people think I'm saying cyborg. I don't know why. Use my accent. Ritualist is not going to do anything for us. Oh, they changed the picture on Ritualist. That's interesting. Might just go up another one of these, I guess. This Rotcaster, I don't know, it doesn't really do very much for me. Yeah, he definitely looks a lot more fearsome, the new Ritualist. I mean, the only other thing I could think of is maybe put some of those cantrips in here so you could get to your sweeps more easily. I mean, let's look at how much card drawing we've got right now. We've got our champion, which will card draw for us. He deals damage to you, though. Actually, you know what we probably would do is we would throw 2 more Corrupt Harvesters on the sideboard. Just so we have that. Atrophy, we'll go ahead and put, I guess, a couple of those. Not a lot of options right now, and there really won't be until it is that we have a full block to play with. I mean, we could talk about metagame all we want to, but realistically, when you're looking at like Magic the Gathering, there's no point in time where you have less than 1,000 cards to build a deck out of right now. But what we're playing with is 350 cards, which is like not enough. It's not enough options. Because you can't, it's hard to tell like what's going to be better than something